Hello, my name is Jack Haight. This is DeVance. Welcome. Today we're going to be unboxing the MI347. This is a digital amplifier from Macintosh, a 7-channel beast, and we're going to be digging right in. So let's start with the unboxing process. As we kind of cut open some of these tattered pieces, we've had this back there waiting to be capitalized on. We've used these in several home theater situations specifically. That's really where these sit the best. But these are killer and very, very capable units. So as we unbox these right here, you'll see the MI347 is sitting right at the top, ready for us. Now, luckily this is not a very heavy unit. And after we kind of take off all these little fins back here, throw these off to the side. All right, this piece is about 47 pounds shipped, about 35 pounds or so, 32 pounds as itself. But don't let any of that weight fool you. This guy's ridiculous when it comes to power. Because this unit is so light, that's kind of the reason for this different style of box. You'll see that with any of these units, processors or tuners or, like this guy, some of these smaller amplifiers, they'll all come be packed up like this. On the front, we have the MI347 user manual. On the back of this unit, we have the power cable. As always, we're going to open that up because we're going to plug this guy in to see it. Powered on. Set that to the side for right now. This guy as well. On the back of this as well, we have some rack ears. I'm not going to fully unbox these, but these sit right on the sides of these, and I'll show you how to get those installed as well. Pick up this unit right here. Again, only 32 pounds or so. Not too crazy at all. Very manageable for one person to do. If we were to unbox like the 257 from Macintosh, you're looking at like 130 pounds. That's a backbreaker. We don't necessarily want to go that direction if we're just doing a single person unboxing this. So as always, we take a lot of this wrapping off to expose the amplifier itself. A little silica packet on the back of that. All right, as we have the 347 kind of propped up on the table, we want to talk about some dimensions and whatnot. So this guy's sitting at about 17.5 inches wide, 6 1/16 inches tall, and 21 inches deep. This is really made to fit in an equipment rack. It doesn't have all the fancy meters that everything else does, so it's not meant to be displayed as everything else would. So what we're going to do is plug this guy in right here, go through some of the power amplification. So special piece about this guy as we turn this on, you can see it actually has some of these channels written out right here. And so you have 4, 5, 6, and 7, but you have your LCR. There's a very important part for that specifically. What that's telling you is those front 3 channels get a substantial amount of more power when you're actually using this in a home theater. So if you're talking about like a 5.2 setup or 7.1, 7.2, you would be able to, play your front 3 channels, give them the extra power that they need. Really, when you're talking about home theater, the majority of all of your sound is going to come from those front 3 channels and really the center channel. And then your sides, your rears and your Atmos channels, those can still get a pretty fair amount of power, but they don't need to be on the same level as the front. We're looking at 300 watts times 3 at 4 ohms for your front 3 channels and 200 watts for your other 4 channels, all at 4 ohms. At 8 ohms, 250 watts, and then 125 times 4 for those extra channels as well. It does have a lot of headroom though. So 2.5 dB of dynamic headroom on 8 ohms and 3.5 dB of dynamic headroom on 4 ohms. That is nearly double the power. That's what I'm saying this guy is an absolute monster, because this is something that, when you're at 300 watts and you double that power, plus a little bit extra, you're close to 600, 660 watts for your front 3 channels at your peak. That is insane. That is a ton of power. And for your side channels and whatnot, you know, let's say 125, nearly times 2, almost 250, 220 watts or so of power for your extra channels. There are a lot of speakers that need a lot of power, and most speakers don't need that much power, but this guy can handle everything that you throw at it. As we turn this around, we're going to look at some of the inputs on the back of this guy specifically. Back of this unit, obviously we can see the power plug in right there, the power control pieces in and out. This is useful when you're setting it up with a receiver, with a processor. They all have trigger outs on there via like a 3.5 millimeter mono or stereo jack that you're going to want to plug into these units. Those are very helpful. This just turns off the unit so that you don't have to press that button on the front every single stinking time. Along with that, we also have unbalanced inputs for every single one of the inputs on here, and we also have balanced for every one of these as well. Obviously balanced is going to get you potentially a better signal source, and you know, that signal will be cleaner because it's, you know, being flipped upside down and every which way from you know, the balanced cables. As well with this, we have solid cinch terminals, and so when we unscrew these guys, they have a little spot for the lead. If you had a bare wire, you could put it in there, but if you also had spade connectors, you would get this guy, and when you close it, you would grab that wrench from Macintosh and then really crank that down another 1/8 or 1/4 turn to really get that piece locked in there. When you're talking about expensive stuff, let's really make sure that we're protecting our investment on a lot of these. They also have a banana connector for each one of these as well, not just the spade, but like I said, extremely capable unit, super robust. This is Class D amplification for all of them. That's why this can be so light. But even for Class D, if we're really digging into this piece and you look into the top, you can see every single one of those boards is just massive. I mean, the power supply for this unit is super heavy. This is super robust. This is ready to kind of take on the world. From a distortion perspective, this is 0.025% distortion. That's killer. That's at full power too. And so really what you're limited on for this unit, which sounds crazy, is the amount of power you're able to get from the wall. And so on a typical outlet, 120, 15 amp, 20 amp, you know, you're maxing out pretty quickly. And so you really want to be aware of that you have a dedicated circuit for this unit specifically. When you're powering up those movies that have all of this dynamic headroom in them, you really want to make sure that you can at least access it and you don't trip a breaker in the middle of the movie. That would totally ruin everything. Besides that, there's not a whole lot more to this unit. It's robust, it's Class D, it's got a ton of power, it's relatively light, easy to carry around. These pieces on the side, these bolts right here, remove for rack ears so that it can fit in a rack. You don't need a dedicated shelf for it, but the width is standard to every rack in the world, nearly. I mean, there's some like 1980, I'm sure that it won't fit, but nowadays it works with everything. So this concludes our unboxing of the MI347. Again, extremely capable, you know, home theater, amplifier, all Class D, super, super high-end amplification, super low distortion, harmonic distortion. Again, this is just a killer unit that I would really highly recommend for putting in a theater, you know, and if you're layering this with a really nice 2-channel amplifier from Macintosh, this can take care of everything else, and you can really run some really nice, you know, Atmos setups and surround sound setups, a 7.2.2 with a stereo amplifier in the front. You know, the ideas are limitless. We've done some great things with these in the past. But thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you know, like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 all the YouTube stuff. But really leave us a comment. We want to engage with you guys. We want to understand what you guys are thinking of this. Do you feel like this is a good buy, a good value for what it is? You know, would you guys put this in your home theater if you guys had the opportunity to? So, you know, give us a shout. If you're in the Dallas area, come stop by. We'd love to show you around and, you know, show you what we've kind of built here, over here. And thank you so much. Have a good day.